telephone road, that come right up the
Did the railroad kind of parallel on Telephone Road? None of it ever got in Andrews County?
No, except over here, you went across it over here where, about where the road, 9 miles out of here, you know.
Uh-huh.
Where Telephone Road
Yeah, it
runs
went
now?
down and right on up to Seminole.
Yeah, there's a ranch house out there on the east side of that Telephone Road.
That's where Cotton lives. What is that?
Oh, I've heard it, well, I can't think now, you know.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, big outfit there.
Yeah, pretty big place.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not part of the Scarborough stuff, is it?
No, that's South Scarborough, quite a way south of Scarborough.
It's all Fasken, isn't it?
Well, that is, I think, all of that, but I don't think Scarborough had much of a fasting. I think they was in the northeast of Fasken.
And then there's 3 wells, right? Nearly, what, is it 3 wells or 5 wells?
5 ways.
5 wells, that's what it used to go by, 5 wells, Scarborough, I think.
And where is that at?
Well, between here and Lamiso, there on the...
Yeah. There's 3 windmills there now. They raise horses there right now.
Well, I don't know, that's been in the cow business for 100 years. I used to work for Ram Floyd down at Below Midland that started working for the 5 wells up there when he was 17 years old. That's been a long time ago. And he said he worked out, I forget how many years he worked there. But the 5 wells been in, I guess they were one of the first ones, as far as I know, they were the first ones.
To actually get into the cattle business.
Yeah.
And who was the 5 wells? Who's that? Who's that belong to? Scarborough's?
Yeah. Of course, I think it's all lease land. I think it's
University of Texas.
Yeah, I think it is. Old Clarence Scarborough. He built that hotel down in Midland, that big old hotel, you know, in the bank.
Scarborough?
Yeah, that is Scarborough. That's Lawrence Scarborough.
Did you ever know him?
No, I didn't know him.
What about the Slaughters? Did you know any of the Slaughters? M.A.L. Slaughter or
Slaughters.
over by La Mesa?
No, I didn't know.
They had a lot of farmland off over there.
Yeah, I've heard of him before, but I didn't know.
So y'all would pick up these cow chips and put them in the tow sacks, and then Grandpa came along with a wagon and picked them up to the store for winter fires.
Yeah.
Just in a covered wagon.
Put them in the
I mean, not
shed.
a
Put them in the shed, keep them dry. You know,
Yeah.
in the winter.
Yeah.
That's all the kind of wood we have.
And it wasn't really wood.
No,
And it didn't smell or anything like that.
No, dry cow chips, you know.
dry
Yeah.
cow chips don't smell. Well, good night. We picked them up. That's the way we used to heat our water to wash with.
Yeah.
But then, our clothes, put the old wash pot out there and rub them on the rubber, then put them in the pot. Lights open, let them boil, take them
Lye
out.
soap. You used to make that, didn't
Oh,
you?
didn't you?
How do you make lye soap?
You put
Grease, use grease.
Five.
Lye.
5 quarts of
grease lye.
lye, 3 cans of lye, and
5 quarts, 5 what now?
quarts of grease.
That's that lard that you
Mhm.
get when you peel
Meat rind or whatever you got to make it with.
And then 3 cans of lye.
And then that lye eats all that up, you see. And you have
And it
a
gets
quart of
soft.
water, and it'll turn to soap.
Yeah. And when you use that, you used it in the scrub with the scrub board,
Rub
board.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do? Put the clothes on there and then rub the soap up and down on it? And that's how.
Put the clothes over your rub board and then rub your soap on there and then rub them. Get the dirt out.
Yeah. How often did you do laundry?
Well, every week.
Once
That's
a week, usually.
Yeah. Because you didn't change clothes those days. You
Yeah.
didn't have the water to bathe in like you do nowadays.
Yeah.
And you wore your clothes.
Yeah.
And you didn't change your bedding like you do.
Yeah.
My mother said 2 days put out her washing, 2 days every week. Put out her washing.
And if you had anything, if you wanted fresh clothes, you'd have to do it. Now, you kids You all never had over 3 dresses, hardly any time to wear to school. And if you had fresh clothes, I'd have to pan them out at night.
Yeah.
And same way with Jay, when he was going, he had 2 pair of overalls. It's in pins, striped with overalls. Well, he got them too dirty, why I had to wash them out at night and have them ready for him to wear.
How'd they dry? In the
Well,
winter,
yeah.
they didn't dry very good.
No,
Did you have to iron them then?
well, yeah. Yeah, that's
They hang
right.
'em around the stove a lot of times.
Hang
Yeah.
them around the stove.
And-
And the irons you used were those kinds you heated up on the stove, right? They were real heavy. I remember using them occasionally. Did you ever see one, Joe?
There's one sitting around here someplace, isn't there? I've seen them.
Yeah, I don't know, I had some here, but I've seen them the other day. Nowadays, they don't even wash the babies' diapers.
Yeah.
But now they've got to have at least 5 dozen to start out with. Well, I raised mine on 2 dozen diapers, and you can imagine,
How often you had to wash. Yeah.
they know different how bad it was, and I might have to wash and hang them around the stove, might push all the kids back to get the baby's diapers dry.
Yeah. Golly. The good old days, huh?
I'll take it now.
Isn't it nice?
Oh, yeah.
Have it
Yeah.
right inside the house and
Rise eat me out the other day. He says, what do you hang out your clothes for? Well, I don't know. I just like to hang my clothes out. And where do you put your underclothes in there? If it's got a stain on them anyway, well, you just cooked it in there. It
Yeah.
won't come out. Well, I can hang them outside. And that sun
yeah.
brings it out.
Well, when did you graduate to a wringer washer? When did you?
When, I think I got a washer after about the time Geneva was.
I remember at the old house that it wasn't inside anything. It was just out in the open, close to the water that came from the windmill to the tank. I guess you had a hookup there.
Them many tanks had a little engine. You had to step over the starter, you know.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. I
gas,
barely remember
gas
that.
motor. And sometimes it'd start and sometimes you had to have a regular spark plug, one of them Maytags, or it wouldn't start. It had to go down in there so far.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you put just a regular spark plug off a car, it wouldn't start.
During World War II, I guess it was, they got to ration gasoline, you know, and Farrell Nix, the daddy, he was running this thing here at Andrews. And I had to sign up before I could get a gallon of gas from a washing machine.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And
But you could get it for the tractor.
Huh?
You could get it for the tractor.
Oh, I wasn't no guy, I don't know about a tractor. We didn't have no tractor those days.
Or did-
Team, we had a team.
Is that right?
horses. But we did have that little gasoline engine, and I had to sign up to get a gallon of gas.
How long would it run it though? It'd run it pretty good
Yeah.
while, a gallon.
Well, sort of like a lawnmower. you know.
Yeah.
yeah, I know up there that had some cotton pickers in the John Fisher house before we moved over there. Well, there's a bunch of Mexicans in there, and they left a bunch of stamps, you know. We had to sign up for sugar and everything.
Oh,
And I found 2 or 3 stamps for sugar, and I thought that was low.
yeah. A gift from heaven.
But of course, you know, we had to buy flour, and of course we had our meal made
There was,
most of the time.
where was there a meal? I mean, a
But
We had John Underwood had a
this meal,
grist
grist
mill,
meal.
grind the corn.
and I think we took some at the Seminole time or two, and used just a feed crusher.
Mhm.
We have made meal on that. Of course, it was coarse. We'd have to sift out the coarse.
Mhm.
And that would be good for the chickens, and we'd use the fine.
Mhm.
But we had to make meal that way. And,
And you usually had your meat,
oh,
raised
yeah.
your hogs and your cattle.
Mhm.
So,
We'd hardly ever kill the beef because until we got we got us a pressure cooker. Well, we can beef then in cans.
Uh-huh.
They use cans all the time, the canning. Well, we use can up well, take a beef and can it up. And after we got that house, was building on that house over there, that cement block house, on our place over there. Well, that is 4 years ago. And also, and he wanted to take back and die. He's cut his candy and cloth.
Really, one is awful. More, it got so hot. Just like,
You had to,
So we
you didn't cook, or did you?
oh yeah, we could know and pepper.
How did you seal it? Days in the mall, it's to buy something and have them put it in a can and seal it because people.
We sold ours in the garage. It is rusting.
Do you,
Well, if she could get the candy, beef, peppered and everything just right, and
you say you
cooker,
good water.
get cold water to
suck the lids and
that.
everything?
Cool them quick. They say it's better to cool it quick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the same way.
Stay
We
hot in there.
take it out and put it in the tank. Put it in a sack and throw it out in the tank. Cool it.
They see, give the tank, floating around in the tank. Just threw me out in the tank. And Geneva caught her fish.
Jay saved your life.
Yeah.
And I didn't know nothing about it. I was in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he brought her in, brought you in, and told me what had happened.
I was floating in a big coat.
I would give you a good, you had, what saved you? Yeah.
And Geneva was catching. How do you suppose?
Well, you just,
A year or so?
just walking good.
Oh, that's.
Oh, did you ever learn to swim?
Oh, yeah. I had to dive. I could dive and then swim good, see. Of course, I finally got where I could swim, but start in with, I had to dive to swim. I dive and I swim good.
I was raised up on a right close to a creek, but I never did learn how to swim.
Never did. And y'all always told us to not go get in the water until we learned how to swim, right?
Well, there wasn't no danger here.
I know,
Don't get in the water
but
till
we
you
had
learn.
that tank, out at the old house, but we never went swimming that much in it.
Well,
It wasn't too clean, I know, but.
no, it wasn't too clean. It was kind of dangerous to let you, that old, get hung up in that old grass. Then you had to be particular about the stock. You could get all that mud stuff stirred up. Well, there you was.
Oh, is that why we couldn't go swimming?
That's
I
the
remember
whole
one time
reason.
going, that you let everybody else go swimming, I think, besides me. I guess I'd had my swim when I was a year old. That was enough.
Well, that's the reason because you get that water all stirred up.
Yeah.
Well, it'd cause the float pan to get stuck. It wouldn't go through it.
Oh,
And
that makes. And Jay built 2 canoes. We used to go canoeing occasionally on the tank. Remember those 10 canoes?
oh yeah, we'd go over to Hackberry.
Yeah.
And
I think Lee built them.
yeah.
Oh, Lee did, I know.
Yeah, well, he helped them.
Uh-huh.
Anyhow, he had a, I guess.
If they're on jump ball or whatever.
And
What they made out of?
just a
About 12 foot 10, you know.
and then
Oh,
put
this-
boards in the end,
Yeah.
so
A couple of them made them sort of like a boat.
Yeah.
And I think, didn't they have tar or something black on them to seal them?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, well,
Around the ends?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something to keep them breathing.
Yeah. And they worked.
Well, probably pretty hard to keep, turn the right direction, hard to get out of the water once you sunk them.
We didn't sink them. I don't get Yeah, we'd go picnic over at Hackberry Lake.
Over Hack, I've been swimming in Hackberry.
Yeah. Now it's all dried up, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
Yeah.
went swimming in there and just come out as black as ace of spades.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
They might have that
Well, it's
along.
stagnant water. Mud.
I don't, we didn't go swimming.
We, happened so that one time we went picnicking over there, I had them things too, and Jay used them. But, there's a boat over there, and we got out in that.
I remember something about
And
getting out of
somebody else come over there and said that is their boat or something, we had to give it up.
Yeah. And that's where Noah Fisher's family is buried, right?
Yeah, over there at Shackler
Yeah.
Cemetery. Did you ever went down to that?
Yeah, I've been down there.
Yeah, I believe you all took us down there once.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Joe and I did. Let's see, what else this says? Something about Moore County at Dumas, and in my first year of school, his older brother and him just had one pair of shoes, and he wore them one day, and the older brother wore them the next day, and one of them stayed at home one day, and then the other.
Yeah.
You remember that? Okay, you're talking about Daddy, or who?
Yeah, that's a Fred.
You and
Yeah,
Fred.
Fred and Betty. That's the way they went to school.
Had to switch out so you could wear shoes. Otherwise, you went barefooted.
How long did you go to school?
How long did it go to
How
school?
many years, yeah?
I quit when I was in 8th grade, I don't know how many years.
That's
School
bad.
years weren't like what we have nowadays. You
Oh,
went, you might have been older and be in the 8th grade.
oh,
Because
yeah.
you went when you could, right?
Yeah.
And when did, huh?
2 years, I think.
No, when you could. You went when
Oh.
you could. I mean, the years, like now we go a certain number of, a certain,
Like age 17,
Yeah.
18 or something.
well, I'm trying to think of the, you go a certain months in the year, and whereas you had to probably stop and do farming or do things as they came
Yeah,
up.
they picked cotton
Yeah.
like we did. I remember going to school one whole term.
Uh-huh.
And the rest of the time, we pick cotton up until Christmas and then go to school.
6 months is all we ever went.
Oh, it was. See, now we go 9 months out of the year, and
That's all 6 months school.
And, or you got your lesson or you stayed in, and you had plenty of homework to do too.
really,
You had to keep you. I know when there in Oklahoma, I was just doing real good. With math, I was just doing real good in the 3rd grade. And I come out here and I never did do good like that.
yeah.
It just seemed like it's.
They were a little bit ahead, maybe. Kids today still have that problem. If they're born or raised in another, like in Oklahoma, and they come here, seems like we're a little bit beyond what they were doing, and they can't seem to catch up so many times. What did you tell us one time, Geneva and I, about y'all having the flu real bad, and several of you nearly dying from the flu?
Oh, that was in 18. And
1918?
And Daddy him and Agnes had it first. And they just began to kind of get up. One morning, Daddy was still in bed, and he went to calling us, telling us to get up. Well, I don't feel like getting up. There's 5 of us at one time. Well, didn't feel like getting up. Mama and Joe was the only one that was able to get up that morning. And that was, and I was in bed over 2 weeks. And they didn't think the hospital was it.
And it was just the flu?
Yeah, just that old
Yeah, that's bad. They had it over in among the soldiers over in Germany, that's when they was fighting over there.
That's reading Daddy.
That's one reason why I didn't get to go to the army. They put it off on account of food.
Oh,
One call.
yeah. Goodness. Was it, what, the diarrhea or the
No,
chest?
you just, I don't know what, it's chest, I guess, a whole lot, because I know, Mama, she'd had the doctor out there, of course, doctor, I forget his church, I believe his name was, and there at Colorado, Clayton, and so he says, well, Minnie, he says, I was going to tell you, he says, you just keep lemons, and you boil them on the stove and give them that lemon juice. And that's what we had to take.
Mhm.
Is that Clayton, New Mexico?
No.
Oklahoma.
Clayton, Oklahoma.
So finally got over it, and I know Daddy, just right after I got up, able to get around, Daddy had a fish trap, and he just brought a whole half a sack full of fish, and catfish, they weren't too big, but anyhow, there was fish. And so he fixed them, and them dress fit every,
Yeah,
because I began to get where I could eat,
yeah.
And, boy, they were really good.
You got down to practically nothing, I guess. How old were you, would you say?
Well, I was
1918?
about,
You were born when?
7,
1907. 11 years old.
11 years old.
And then after that, my daddy and mother came to West Texas. Well, they left us down there with Agnes and went to school, finished the school year. And she came and brought us to
How did
Texas
she do that?
on a train.
Oh,
I got to ride a train
oh, how exciting.
from Dayton, Oklahoma to,
Midland?
we used to Colorado City.
Oh,
And so that's, Daddy was living on Uncle Harold's place, one of his places, all not out far away from it. Well, we had to move in then to Westbrook, and we moved down there where Sid and them live now, on Granddad's place, and that's where we started school.
Okay, Agnes is the oldest. How much older is she than you?
Well, that's Ivy. Next.
Ivy and George, she's just about five.
Agnes and Ivy and George and...
And man, it's about had 2 years difference in that
I
one.
see. And then who's after you?
Jewel.
And Lily and Warner?
That's
Lily, and then Terrell, that's the one that
passed away.
passed away.
Oh,
And,
Dan Lily.
Terrell.
yeah,
He went, how old was
or
he?
he was just about, I think, 18 months old. He just didn't walk good. And Ivy and him, was just before Christmas, they just had, Mama was cooking for Christmas. And Ivy was playing with him on the table, playing, and he was running around, and then he got sick. And I don't know really what was wrong. That's, as Ivy told me, I was talking the other day, and that's when I found out, back there in Oklahoma, you get the water out of the graves, put the coffin in.
Oh,
I don't want none of that.
Yeah. well, did y'all have more, you had more children, didn't you? Didn't you have two others
Me?
that you miscarried or something?
I was miscarried one.
Where would that have been in between who?
Yeah, I don't remember. It's long.
Oh, okay, I just was thinking about that.
We all about ready to wrap this up. We're about to run out of light here.
Okay, that is the time, Joe.
I feel like we covered a
We might
lot.
have cut it off a long time ago.
Well, y'all, after we didn't go, y'all can say that.
stay down. I follow him around.
West Texas, welcome to all of you this afternoon on the continuation of Pioneer Day. Pioneer Day started this morning at 9 o'clock on a one-way street behind the high school with a 2-mile and 10K run, and there were a lot of runners participating, and that turned out to be a great activity. We have a lot of entertainment planned for you this afternoon. There's programs scattered throughout the seats. We're going to start off this afternoon with the Fun Bunch Rhythm Airs from the Senior Citizen Center across the way here, and the Victory Singers from the First Baptist Church. I would like to extend my appreciation to Charlie Russell with regard to the run this morning and all of his workers, and to Sue Craig and Ross Hartsfield for putting together an excellent program with these two groups. And we'll proceed with their program and give them a nice round of applause before they even start, because they're well worth it. Thank you.
with some recognitions of people who have lived here in years past. We want everyone to be ready to participate, and our next two songs will sort of set the mood for this. let's look at a few years back down the lane, and I know you all have been talking about when you lived here and when you came here. Is there anyone that came here before 1905? Well, that's a good year to start with. Anybody that came here before the year of 1910? Please stand up and come up to the mic and tell us who you are. There's a mic right here in the aisle between the seats. Just a minute, Mr. Bonoski. Somebody will help you. Did everyone hear that? Fred Bonoski. Came here in 1906. Someone else. Let's come right on down through the years. Coming on down from 1906, 1910, 11, 12. When I hit your year, Jim, go to the microphone and tell us. Hank, you're there. You and Jim get to the microphone.
I was born here in 1911.
And you've been here ever since.
Back here in 1937.
Oh, okay. Tell them what your name is, Pat. Everyone doesn't know.
Pat Wright.
Pat Wright.
He jumped in a few days outside. Jim Underwood, born March 24th, 1911. And I've been here all that time, except in the short period. I'm Bill Fidel, born here in 1912, raised in Woodburn.
Very good.
I remember July. I was born here in July. My folks lived here in 1970. And I lived here up until I was about 21 years old. I now live in Burbank, California. Maybe somebody before me, I see now. I was born here in 1960. I was gone from here for a few years one time.
Okay. Okay, we skipped a few years in there. Does anybody feel the need to go back and pick up anyone? Up to 1960. 16, I'm sorry. 16. Got that wrong, didn't I? Coming right on down through the years.
All the old folks are through. I'm not sure when I was born in 1914. I'm not here and I'm still here. Oh, definitely.
All right. Okay, anybody else need to catch up? That was one from 16 back to 14. Now, do we need to catch up with anyone else or go forward? From 16 coming on up. How about the ladies? We haven't... Tell us how old you are. Just tell us when you came. If you are qualified, all right. If you don't, that's good too. Okay. There are some families who have had generations that have lived here, and 2 or 3 of them have been identified. How about someone else? Would you like to identify your family as having the 4 or 5 generations? Okay, please do.
I'm Virginia Williams Hogg, and my grandparents came here in 1906. Andrew called Uncle Henry. And my daddy came here in 1906 with them. And mother came here with her family in 1924. Then they were married in Andrews County in 1925. So that makes us 5 generations that we have in Andrews County at this time. My brother Jackie has a new granddaughter, excuse me, and she makes up our 5th generation. Still living in Andrews.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I'm Charlie Perkins. We came here, we're newcomers. We came here in 1925, 3rd generation up there.
Thank you, Charlie. HD?
Well, my name is Ed Turner, and I'm on that claim as the oldest imposter here. I married the first baby born today.
HD? H.D. Price came here in 1926 and 4 generations of their family living here. Same?
We came here in 1944, and I was born in 1925, and there's 4 generations here.
Sonny Thomas. His family came in 1924, he was born in 1925, and they have 4 generations living here. Very good. Anyone else? We're going to, all right.
I'm Bill Austin, and my grandparents came here in 1924. We have 3 generations here.
Yes?
I came here in July 1929, and I've had a picture made right lately of 4 Nixons, all males, and 3 of them were born in Andrews County.
Good. Martha?
I'm Martha Page, and my father's Mr. and parents are Mr. and Mrs. W.A. Harris, and he first came here in 1916, and they lived in Shaker Lake in covered wagons. And then they were married here in 1924. They had 10 children, and 8 of us are here today, and they have 4 generations living here in Andrews.
My folks came here in 1930. We have 4th generation here in Andrews.
Very good. Keep number. 4 generations living in Andrews. Gene?
I'm Gene Irwin, and my grandfather and my father and my son, and I got 2 grandchildren. It makes 5 generations Irwin. 3 of them still living here.
5 generations of the Irwin family living here. Okay?
Sam Mathis. I came here in 1906. Folks, we came in a covered wagon. We came from Williamson County. And we stayed here till we were about starved out and left. We left here in 1912 in September. Dad wanted to take us back and give us a little education, but we never did get it. And I was gone 32 years. I come back here at 44. I've been living right out west of town here. A little over 40 years. Thank you.
All right, we're going to continue our program. The next recognition category will be the recognition of the oldest lady and man. Now, ladies, you're going to have to cooperate with us. We're going to find out who has that honor, and we hope that our next songs will set the mood for that. Anyone here that is 95? All right, ladies, everyone here want to claim that honor? All right, let's come on down to years. How about 90? No one in the 90 group? All right, let's come on down to the 88-year-old group. Stand up, Slim. Don't be bashful, it's something to be proud of. Consider the alternative. My goodness, there's no comparison. 87. 86. All right. 85.
Jake Snyder.
Jake Snyder. Davis. Davis. What did we get to? 85? 84. All right. Russell Johnson. 83. Come on, don't be bashful. Right. 82. Yes, Mr. Umberson.
I forgot to say, I hope to come to pioneers here, along with the women.
81. Marching right on down the years. Yes, sir. Sir? Wilma Wilson? 81. Help me keep track. I don't want to miss anyone. Violet McConkey? 81? 82. I'm sorry. And I saw Maple Mize in the back pop up. But I didn't, she sat down before I was to say something. Okay. All right, down to 80. Mr. Vinovsky. And me back here. Right. That's W.L. Lewis, in case you all couldn't see back there. Yes, Mr. Vinovsky.
My folks came here in the spring, summer of '6. We stayed here winter and then went to Tokyo to spend the winter. Came back then in the spring of '7. Brother was born there. Then later on, father was born in '9, which was Mr. Turner's wife. First child born to live in Andrews County after it was chartered or incorporated or whatever they done.
Very good. How about all of those that are between 80 and 70? Just stand up as a group. That that's terrific. This is one place, if you're under 70, you're definitely in the minority.
My grandfather, Rufus Andrews, was going to be here today, but he's in the hospital. But he's 76 years old.
Rufus Andrews, 76 years old. He isn't present because he's in the hospital. Okay. Well, I believe that we've talked enough about that. We're just happy to have all of you here. We're proud of every one of you that have made the effort to come out today. So we'll continue our program now. Oh, this next is a special song, the Senior Citizens song, and this takes in everybody that's over 55.
Emergency phone call for Elwin Howell. If you'll step to the back, please. Thank you.
We're going to wrap up our program this afternoon with a gospel music medley. And when we sing, if you feel like it, we'd be happy to have you join in with us.
Thank you.
to the little boys or little girls' room. You've got time right now. We're going to clear these folks out. The next thing on our program this afternoon is the history of Andrews County, a multimedia presentation. You don't want to miss that. Coming up after that will last for about 40 minutes, and then coming up after that we have a group from Lavisa called Circuit Riders who will be playing bluegrass music for about 45 minutes. And then after that we have the drawing. Some of you may be aware, but we've been given 3 prizes, donations. One from Barber's Home Furnishings, some furniture in the back, color TV, 19-inch RCA color TV, and also a VHS video recorder, both of those given by Radio Shack. And that drawing will be held at 3:30 approximately for all those people who bought programs and filled out the coupon.
Okay, they're going to be, you get them? Right there, between those 3 men, do you know how many years that is? 2. Huh? 2 years. I don't know. And plus the light was still going low, so. You want to finish this up? No, I'm not nursing here. No? Come here and finish up here. It'll be right there. Record that right up there.
Hey, JP!
Oh, you can't quite balance now. You've lost it. Why did you quite balance it? There, right over there, see?
Comanche Indians ruled these lands for more than 400 years. They successfully repelled all invaders up until the middle 1800s. The era of Comanche domination began to decline in 1845 when Texas received statehood. Another event which speeded the demise of the Comanche was the gold rush to California in 1849. These historic events touched off large-scale migration to the western United States. Many were just passing through, but some stayed and began to carve out a living by hunting and trapping or raising cattle. This influx of newcomers, along with the United States Cavalry, eventually drove the terror of the plains to other areas and eventually to government reservations. In 1875, the plains of West Texas were scouted by Lieutenant Colonel William R. Shafter, who was based at Fort Concho, today's San Angelo, Texas. Shafter led 9 troops of the 10th Cavalry and 2 companies of the 24th Infantry onto the high plains of West Texas. Their objectives were to scout the area for sources of water, look for stray Comanches, and to update maps of this harsh and desolate wasteland. The expedition spent time investigating the area around Cedar Lake in today's Gaines County. Evidence pointed out the fact that Cedar Lake had been used as campsites by the Comanches for hundreds of years. From Cedar Lake, Colonel Shafter headed south into Andrews County. His journal stated that they camped around another large playa lake, which would one day bear his name. His journal described the geology, the animal and the plant life around the lake. Entries into the journal describe the evidence of Indian campsites around the lake also. Evidence also showed that the rocky ledges were once home for early inhabitants of Shafter Lake. In 1839, legislation was passed setting aside 50 leagues of public land for the establishment of 2 universities. The University of Texas system, as well as Texas A&M, were established as a result of this legislation. An additional 1 million acres of land was donated to the universities in 1876. And in 1883, still another 1 million acres was donated. Much of this land was considered worthless. And 293,000 acres of this worthless land just happened to be in Andrews County. The university system owns 14 blocks of land scattered throughout the county and comprises 29% of the land area in Andrews County. These lands paved the way for additional settlements in the county when the first grass lease on university land was sold to B. Holloway in 1892. In 1876, the Texas legislature passed a law creating 54 counties out of a vast territory called Bexar County. This great county encompassed most of the South Plains as well as much of the Texas Panhandle. One of these newly created counties was Andrews County, named for Richard Andrews, the first man to die in the Texas Revolution. The county was first under the jurisdiction of Shackelford County. And in 1882, its control was transferred to the Howard Land District. Andrews County was then under the Martin Land District in 1887, and then Martin County in 1891. Andrews was considered a vast wasteland by many people during this time period. It was a desolate frontier, just waiting for the right kind of people to move in and develop its hidden resources. For the next several years, Andrews County was still very much an open frontier. Many people during this era were still just passing through, but a rugged breed of hunters and trappers, along with a few brave and hardy ranchers, began to filter into the area and stay. By 1880, more ranchers found their way onto the grassy pasture lands. The first thing these men did was to hand-dig water wells and scout out natural springs, which were well hidden as well as scarce. Some of the early open-range ranchers of the 1880s were the Cowens and Holts, Gates and Von Hobeck families. Still others were the Underwood brothers, Brennan, Means, Buston, Irwin, and Pinnell families.
In 1883, Nelson Morris, a Chicago meat packer, bought 228,000 acres in the southeast corner of the county. This spread became the Chicago Ranch, known by most as the Sea Ranch. Morris was the first to bring the windmill to Andrews County to pump water to his great herds of cattle. He eventually installed 79 windmills throughout his ranching empire. Shortly afterwards, other ranchers began to do the same. The windmill played a vital role in taming this part of West Texas. By 1890, barbed wire began to bring an end to the open range that existed since ranching's earliest days. Ranching was still a very hard way of life, but the taming of Andrews County was now well underway. John Scarborough moved into the eastern part of the county in 1894 and began his ranching operation. 7 years later, he organized the Scarborough Cattle Company. Like the Sea Ranch, the Scarborough Ranch pioneered the ranching industry in Andrews County. Ranching during the early days was limited only to the men and their families with a pioneering spirit. Pioneer mothers lived in constant fear for their children because rattlesnakes infested the county. The families had to live off the land as there were no nearby towns. Supplies had to be shipped by wagon from Midland or Abilene. Periods of drought, along with sickness, death, and just plain hard living, tempered the staying power of these rugged pioneers. The year 1895 saw a new homestead law which opened up more land for newcomers. Over the next decade, pioneer families such as the Means, Craddock, Underwood, Cruz, Pinnell, Irwin, White, Ratliff, Gregg, Hart, and Mathis began to make their mark on this land. Homesteading had by now pretty much spread to all parts of the county. Andrews was beginning to grow, from a population of 24 in 1890 to a grand total of 87 persons in 1900. During the early 1880s, the Texas and Pacific Railroad was completed south of Andrews County. The line passed through Midland, Odessa, Monahans, Pecos, and on to California. The railroad was instrumental in opening up the South Plains of Texas. The railroad brought in supplies, lumber, windmills, fencing material, and many newcomers looking for a new start. The railroad promoted land sales in West Texas by painting a prosperous and rosy picture for prospective land buyers. These promises brought in over 800 people who had high hopes of making it on a West Texas farm or ranch. The promotion by the railroad failed to mention the meager rainfall, the isolation, and the hardships they found. After proving up their land, many sold out to their rancher neighbors and moved on. The established ranchers were now able to add to their vast land holdings, drill wells, install windmills, and fence portions of their ranches. The tough, determined, and the hard stayed, while the less hardy moved on. The ones that remained created large, successful ranches, and many of those pioneers played important parts in the organization of the county, the organization of various communities, as well as the present city of Andrews.
In the early 1900s, a group of landowners and businessmen from Shafter Lake decided to develop the area near the lake into a town. There was also a settlement in the present town of Andrews, a smaller settlement at Flory, and another at Whalen Lake. But there was nothing in the county that even resembled a real town. The promoters of Shafter Lake distributed a printed booklet offering an abundance of land for sale, cheap. They boasted of a bank, stores, a planned square for a future courthouse, plenty of fresh water, a newspaper, a school, a hotel, as well as being the largest settlement in Andrews County. When the town of Shafter Lake was actually established in 1906, it was described in the promotional literature as the city of 1,000 wonders. Several families were living at Shafter Lake at this time. However, the town died out after losing a most interesting election which determined the county seat. Now that the smaller community of Andrews was the center of the county government, its future was now safely insured. The residents of the county were still pretty much isolated. The mail car was a vital link to the rest of the world. The car made runs out of Midland to Andrews and to Seminole. Residents of the county were always excited on the days that the mail car was due to arrive. They hoped for a letter, or maybe hoped to receive items they had mail ordered many months earlier. At the turn of the century, another community sprung up at Wayland Lake, west of town. Several families settled in this area, but just as it was in other areas, life wasn't easy. Some families moved after only a short stay. The families who proved out their claims and settled here were the Dillers and the Gates, the Mathis, the Lumps, the Self, Lowe, and Eastmans. Still other families were the Wrights and the Martins, Justice and Smoot families. The county's first school was built here. Some families sold their land after gaining title and moved on to more civilized areas of the state. For many years, Andrews had been under the jurisdiction of several different governing bodies. But on May the 11th, 1910, Andrews was duly separated from Midland County and became an independent county. The very next year, citizens voted to build a courthouse on land donated by Bob Means. The site was today's Prairie Dog Town on West Broadway, near the old jail, which is still standing. The first courthouse was used for 27 years until the present one was completed in 1939. By now there were several small communities scattered throughout Andrews County. Northwest of town was the Cobb community, named after W.W. Cobb, who first settled there and initiated the community school. West of town, near the New Mexico border, was the Dollarhide community, which also had a school. This community was named for Tom Dollarhide, a pioneer to that area. 9 miles east of town was the railroad town of Faskins, which was on the C Ranch's Midland and Northwestern Short Line out of Midland to Seminole. This line was in existence from 1917 to 1920. Northeast of town was the community of Flory, named for A.J. Flory, who was mainly responsible for the construction of their school in 1909. Mrs. Flory was their teacher. After the drought of 1918 and after World War I, a second wave of ranchers arrived in Andrews County. Many of these ranching families still reside in the county today. The Tom, Weich, Fisher and Stickney, McWhorter, Proctor, Miles, and Parker families were among these ranching families. In the early 1920s, another group of people moved into Andrews. The first to buy land east of town was Will, Jack, and Al McCarley. The McCarleys sold land to others when they moved to Andrews to farm. The McCarley settlement became home for several families who had left their worn-out, boll-weevil infested farms in the eastern and central parts of the state. These hardy families were determined to combine cheap land, sparse rainfall, and a longer growing season into successful farming operations. Some of the families who settled in the McCarley settlement were the Moxleys and McKinneys, the Wilsons, Ogdens, Lonuses, Sutphans and Keiths, Smiths, Normans, Nixes, Burketts, and Fowlers. Most of these names are still familiar in Andrews today.
In 1924, C.E. Ogden moved his family to Andrews after trading land in Waco for a section of land in West Andrews County. He built a house and started raising cotton and sorghum. In 1926, he signed a lease agreement with landman R.C. Sartain. The lease was assigned to the Deep Rock Oil Company. The company prepared to spud a well on his land, which was due south of the University Block 14 land. In December 1929, driller Red Davidson reached the San Andres pay 4,345 feet below the surface. Oil rose to the top of the wellbore. Oil had been discovered in Andrews. However, the Ogden number 1 drew little attention from the oil community in the state. Several problems faced the county's first oil well. 2 months earlier, Wall Street had crashed and the economy was at rock bottom. An oil flood caused by the prolific East Texas oil fields didn't help much either. Another problem was that the thick San Andres crude was a very low gravity with a high sulfur content, and this made it hard to sell. After drilling 8 wells and moving in several large storage tanks and filling them with oil, Deep Rock shut down its operation in Andrews and left everything on the lease. The oil fields of East Texas were receiving most of the attention of the oil speculators, and then soon afterwards, oil prices dropped from $1 to 10 cents a barrel. Like so many other companies during this era, Deep Rock was also in great financial trouble. Deep Rock Oil attempted to sell its oil interest in Andrews, but economic uncertainty and the Depression, along with the problem of marketing the oil, caused the company to bail out of Andrews County before they lost still more money. The first oil well in Andrews County turned out to be a white elephant as far as Deep Rock was concerned, but better days were yet to come.
In the fall of 1931, an oil man from Fort Worth arrived in Andrews to survey the possibility of purchasing the equipment abandoned on the Ogden Deep Rock lease. This man was J.W. Triplehorn, an experienced oil man and cable tool driller. Triplehorn had previously drilled wells from Canada to Ohio. He had also drilled wells in the old Ranger, Texas field. The Depression and drought brought exploration and drilling to a standstill. Triplehorn at that time was buying and selling used oil field equipment. In 1932, after taking inventory of the old Ogden lease and knowing the dilemma Deep Rock was in, Triplehorn made an offer of $7,500 for the lease, the wells, the tools, and the oil that's in the tanks, as well as all other equipment on the site. The company jumped at Triplehorn's offer, for they were more than pleased to sell out and take their oil interest elsewhere. Now that Triplehorn was in control of the lease, he began to clean up the lease, and shortly afterwards, turn the wells into reliable producers. He continued to drill and develop the lease. His son, Maurice Triplehorn, convinced his father that they should switch from the old cable tool technique of drilling to the more modern rotary drilling method. This new technology allowed them to drill faster and deeper. By now, there were other oil producers in the county. These pioneer oil operators had a common problem: getting their crude oil to market. Humble Oil Company had a pipeline to the North Cowden field in Ector County. Triplehorn wanted to see a pipeline extended into the heart of Andrews County. He knew that a major oil company would not build a pipeline to an independent producer's field, but they might build a pipeline to their own field. With this in the back of his mind, he assisted Humble in obtaining oil leases in Andrews County. The strategy worked, because by late 1934, there was an oil pipeline in Andrews County. 10 years after Triplehorn had gained control of the Ogden lease, he had 10 producing wells with a production of 150 barrels per day. This field would not, however, reach its full potential until the mid-1940s, when the deeper Glorietta, Wolfcamp, and Ellenberger pay zones began producing better quality crude.
By 1938, the Andrews oil fields were well developed throughout the county. The Furman field was opened in November of 1930. In 1934, the Means field began production. The Parker lease began production in 1935. In 1937 and 1938, the Emma and Shafter Lake fields came in. The oil patch began to prosper only slightly in the late 1930s, but after the bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941, the wartime demand for oil triggered Andrews' first oil boom. Almost exactly 12 years after the C.E. Ogden #1 well blew in. The war years created a great need for oil, gasoline, and other petroleum products. Andrews County had the resources to help meet those needs. The young oil town had needed something to spark its oil economy, and World War II became the catalyst. Wildcat wells were drilled all over the county. Many new fields were discovered. While new fields were started, the older fields expanded or re-drilled to reach the deeper, richer formations of the Ellenberger, Devonian, and the Wolfcamp. New drilling technology had allowed the oil prospectors to tap the rich, deeper pay zones, which would one day play a vital role in setting future oil production records. By 1942, the oil fields of Texas were booming, and Andrews was right in the thick of it all. The Means and Fullerton fields alone required a tremendous amount of manpower to drill, complete, and produce the oil. There was a need for supply and service companies to keep the production going. The need for workers kept the roads in and out of Andrews hot with people coming to seek good-paying jobs in the oil fields. Since the oil industry's future looked bright, many oil companies, service and supply companies attempted to move to the town of Andrews. Most of the land in and around the town of Andrews was controlled by some of the pioneer ranching families, and they didn't want oil businesses coming to town. Since the oil companies couldn't obtain land in town, they were forced to go to Frankel City, 17 miles northwest of Andrews. This small town sprung up out of necessity. Oil businesses needed a headquarters in Andrews County. Frankel City became just that. It was an oil town and nothing more. Halliburton was one of the first to move to Frankel City. They had their yard and camp nearby. National Supply, Mid-Continent, and United Supply were also there. The middle 1940s and 50s saw Frankel City as a thriving little oil town. It had its own post office, cafes, grocery stores, service stations, machine shop and welding shops, and everything else that might be needed in the oil patch. In 1956, there was a March of Dimes parade at Frankel City. It was a really big day. Many people came out to Frankel City to see the parade, which was only 1.5 blocks long. There were 2 parade queens who rode atop huge oil field trucks, and they even had a band.
During these boom years, the town of Andrews was literally bursting at the seams. Drillers, roughnecks, tool pushers, service hands, and roustabouts competed for the limited housing in the town. This critical housing shortage caused many to live in their cars, while some even lived in tents. Any rooms, if you could find one, rented for premium rates. Some came with their little 8x10 trailer houses. The overcrowding created long lines everywhere. There were long lines at the grocery store, lines at the barber shop, clothing stores, and it was pretty much just a full-time job standing in line to get your mail at the post office. Many new oil companies formed. Many service companies were born overnight. Many men who started a business with practically nothing soon got rich. Their businesses grew, and their assets multiplied several times over. Since the oil business is sometimes ruthless and highly competitive, only the strong, tough, and determined survive. Throughout the 1940s, the town grew as people continued to move to Andrews. The housing problem would not be solved until the 1950s. Some of the major oil companies helped to relieve the housing shortage for their employees when they employed the oil camp concept. This concept was highly beneficial to both the company and employees. Humble, El Paso, Phillips, Magnolia, Texaco, Stanton, and Gulf were some of the major camps in Andrews County. These camps were constructed out in the oil fields, which made it nice for the workers, but created some hardships because of the distance to town and to school. Living in the company camps was a great economic package for the employee. Not only did he make excellent wages, but his house rent, water, electricity, and natural gas were usually furnished by the company. Each major camp was a little city with trees where they had their own water system, electrical generating plant. Many had paved streets with curbing and street lights. During the peak years, oil camps were scattered all over the county. There were oil company camps, small pumper camps, service camps, and utility camps. Camp size ranged from a single dwelling to camps providing for well over 100 families. The 1950 census proved to be most interesting, for there were more people living in the camps and on ranches than lived in Andrews, the county seat. What was it like living in an oil camp? Wives who experienced camp living will share with you some of their thoughts and experiences.
Let's see, I believe it was the fall of 1943 that we moved into camp. It was really great. The house they moved us into was a mansion. We had been living in a small, dirty two-room house. Not a two-bedroom house, but a two-room house. The house was in very, very bad shape. You couldn't clean it up. You could spend all day long. It was just stinky. The plumbing was bad. It was very, very hot during the summer months, and during the winter, we froze to death.
It was a glorious day when we were told we could move to the camp. I have reservations about moving way out there in the middle of nowhere, but living in camp had to be better than living where we'd been living. I'll never forget the first time I saw our camp. Everything looked so desolate. But in time, we fixed the place up, and it was really, it was very homey.
After we settled into our new house, we put in a yard, a garden, and flower beds. It was really great. It was very nice that the company would always send someone over to fix problems. There were always plenty of children for our kids to play with. The camp had a ball field and a playground for the kids. My one really big concern was that the kids would always step on Rattler.
We had great friends living in camp with us. We used to get a bunch together and make ice cream. We'd play cards. It was usually 42. And we'd just sit and visit while we watched the kids play. Most people were just like us. They were working people just trying to make a living. We usually worked out any problems between our kids in a peaceable manner. Sometimes some wives would get together and we'd go shopping in Odessa. Now that was a real treat after being in camp for several weeks.
It was nice that my husband was so close to his work. It was especially nice for me and the kids when he worked graveyard shifts. It was comforting to know he was only a holler away. It was a real problem for the kids because they had a 60-mile round-trip bus ride to school each day. It was even tougher when your kid played in the high school band and had to practice late and even early in the morning. We did get to save a little money while living in the camp. The company paid all the bills and kept things up for us. As for having memories about camp life, they were mostly good memories.
There were many changes in Andrews County during the 1950s. The town now encouraged oil businesses to come to town. All the businesses at Franklin City moved to Andrews. With Franklin City moving to town, the people continued to move to Andrews with hopes of finding work, and the existing problems were magnified. Businesses in town were in need to expand. New businesses were also needed. And the school system was in terrible condition. It was terribly overcrowded. These conditions sparked the school trustees into action. They took the problems to the voters. The bond election passed overwhelmingly. And in 1956, new neighborhood elementary schools were built. A new junior high was built in 1957. And before long, the old high school was no longer adequate. In 1960, the voters approved the building of a new modern high school in the northwest part of the city. This school was of a totally new design, with air conditioning and carpets on the floor. This was the first high school in the nation to be fully carpeted throughout. In 1975, a new middle school was constructed. And as the community continued to grow, other buildings were simply constructed. The beautiful Clear Park Elementary School was completed in 1982. Andrews has one of the nicest high school stadiums in the nation. There are excellent swimming, tennis, and baseball facilities. The Andrews school system has long been the pride of the community. The high teacher salaries and excellent teaching facilities has attracted some of the best teachers in the state to Andrews. Andrews students have a reputation of being strong competitors in academics as well as athletics.
Andrews is now 75 years old. This city evolved from a frontier ranching settlement to a small ranching town, to a struggling oil town, to a boom town, then to a modern West Texas community with a lot of pride. The 1950s and 60s saw tremendous changes. The businesses continue to grow today. Restaurants alone have multiplied many times since 1960. Andrews has a nice modern hospital with many excellent doctors. The county parks and Little League parks are as nice as you can find anywhere. The city, county, and school systems have had the reputation of always working together to build a better Andrews. Andrews is a unique community. It has some of the most caring and generous people in the world. Andrews, a ranching town, an oil town, a great place to live and raise a family. At this time, let's all join together to say happy birthday, Andrews. It's been a great 75 years. Let's all continue to grow and prosper together. Let's keep the dream alive.
Yeah, that's good.
He does.
If anybody goes to jail, you're going too, Leo.
This is y'all Cameron Casino down the drain. You have her.
There you are. See you over on Hey. Fit, thank you, Cameron. One cup, right?
No, I had to borrow that. I had somebody daddy that. You're not invited to the next one, I don't think.
Well, you're too cheap for me to pay with. I don't go through those four. Five.
Yeah, so you had to come down on that.
I wrote that for $100 bill one time. I never done it since. That lady didn't win it. That's what it did.
Daddy, we won the hole. He lost it. I mean, he won it.
Are you coming back here?
And I mean, he snatched it up and put it in his pocket. I know. From the woods.
I just wondered if you thought to get you another key there for your
Let's play poker. Go ahead, put the sign in, but... Oh, that's myself.
You'll get on with me. Take it easy. You're on, hey.
You tried to break it on.
Who are you? Who? Corey. Move right back up there.
Thank you.
You guys on TV over
Light had come on.
Say cheese. We'll learn how to say trick or treat. Candy? Asking for some candy. Candy? Yeah.
You can say something. Yeah.
How's your pecan crop?
Lots of strong still.
We got it advertised.
Yeah. That's Rosie.
Look at that little
went around the other side.
You are too.
What's under that?
Mama, you're on.
Should I look at him song or what?
I said, y'all really did
You say they had a hot dog. I ain't one of those.
Johnny, come here, Johnny, the big hand. I'm going to have to go home. I don't think so. I never did anything. Let me take a picture. Yeah, we want to see pictures. That's it. Let's get on.
Wow. Andy Cameron's a cigarette.
I don't want cameras, but like video moving cameras.
With sound.
That really quit work, I think. You can't do over camera. No!
You gotta tell us the story.
I'm on the daddy's seat. He wouldn't never
there another one? I can't.
Mikey, look! Oh, just follow out of her. Mikey, look! Look!
Oh, there you go.
Get close up to me.
Yeah. Nah. So we can bring
What's that?
I think the lights on.
Sandy.
She's a real good Allie, look at the TV. Who's on TV? Who's on TV? You know, kids get so weather. Yeah. We have time to attention.
Never seen anybody ever more than you do.
She keeps calling back.
You walk back and forth just so you can get on the camera.
Oh, I can't on TV. If you want sugar creamer? You're on TV. No, you are. Ted, that coffee's ready. Here, baby. She said, no, it gets thrilled every day.
That's what I need to do. Huh? Stop looking for my bald head.
Oh, I could do it. Johnny, let me do it. Let me do it.
Good heavens. Get that down.
Here. What's the pose one?
I always pose. How many do we have to have?
Pose stumpkin.
How many do we have to have?
For one. Not enough.
That one.
Where would you be, Alex?
Y'all been taking that?
I'm here. We had to talk about
This Allie, a year ago, Allie come here. Ugly? Yes. Look, it's just one of the best you made, honey.
Scoot right over there. Do it.
Where? Go.
Raise your hand, Patty. Raise your hand. No. Raise your hand.
Look at me.
She gets out of that while there was a girl. That's enough, Patty. You do one more?
Yeah, there's Ellison.
Hey, come on.
Yes.
You don't like that camera? Come on. She's tired.
Do it.
Wait,
Geneva. You just blurred out the whole picture.
I bet you didn't get her all that. Got one shot, did it? What did we do? Again, and I'm
Maybe he needs a new camera. Chris.
How's my woman not walking in my...
Well, you're so sorry. You've been in it 40 years. Now, bad time. You get up there with them. All the rest of you get up there to the van.
Your building isn't big enough.
That's still a half.
David, you are. Come on. Ernest.
Get over here.
Come on.
Everybody is here.
The little one was you have to take it.
Put your coat down, Michael. There's that book. There it is. There's the boundary. I mean, there's Joe and Dale. Go, Michael. Come here. Stand here. Where's the little one?
Oh, no. We can't get them all. There's no way to get them all.
I have them all in. Now, you did not all of them. Now, the foot back.
Look at Lil, he's gonna have to smile.
Sir, y'all both nice knuckles. Let's see, George is here.
Did you have something to say, Mark?
Yes, I said, Joe, just bring that camera.
You call medic?
Wake up and Lamar, relax the ring. Everybody's sorry. Right there.
You made a good picture.
Who is that?
Jack.
That's a good one.
Who's that? I want to see how the picture
You just smile so much, Chuck. I can't help it.
Hit my eyes every time.
Yeah. It's the McKinney look. That mesmerizing look. Charlene.
Here you are. You had any tea?
Yeah, I bought about 10 times. Their relay team was the reason. Bye.